Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of D.E.I. Deathwatch, where we chronicle the downfall and the doubling down of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm your host, Scribelight. Hope everybody's doing well on this beautiful Monday afternoon. Let's see, let me boost up my audio a smidge here. There we go. And, yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I know it was a little bit of a short notice as compared to days previous, but things are in a kind of hurry up and wait situation with my father. He's currently in the hospital. We're hoping he gets discharged soon. Might not be today, maybe tomorrow. But I appreciate everybody in the Discord and on Twitter with your well wishes and prayers. I appreciate it. Yep, so just kind of waiting and seeing what happens. I got the phone nearby. If I get a phone call all of a sudden I have to boogie, then that'll be the case. But in the meantime, I needed a bit of a distraction elsewise, and why not D.E.I.? Oh, D.E.I., you my only friend. And wouldn't that be a sad state of affairs? But who's joining me on this beautiful Monday afternoon? Juliet, good afternoon. The old guy, hello. Shady Grin, what's up? Walter Tomaszewski, good afternoon, everyone. Recently built speaker wire. Scribe will sound brilliant, as he always does, through it. Prayers for his dad, him, and family. Thank you so much, Walter. Appreciate it. Morgan King, good afternoon. Plague Trucker Zach, hello. The Alexander, hello. Kiro Soldier, hello. Sabian 187, hello. Tack Alpaca, good afternoon. Mike Savage, no, not Mike Savage. Oh, too many mics, pardon me. Mike R. Mike Savage is oncoming. We'll get this Mike Savage soon, but first Mike R. You're the first Mike. Step up to the mic, Mikeaton. Corbin Dallas, good afternoon. Blue-Eyed Scream, hello. Simon Willikins, hello. Now, Mike Savage, Blarg. JPS, good afternoon. Robert Pincus, hello. Who else is here? The Dead Man, hello. And I think that's everybody I see. If I missed you, if you're lurking, if you're in the future, good afternoon. Oh, and DD Juvats. DD Juvats? Daredevil Juvats. That's what I'll call you, unless there's something else I should call you. Daredevil Juvats. And Kay Roberts. Good afternoon. Headed out to the store. We'll get a good snack. Or get some yummy food. Something good. Let's see. So, yeah, we have a little bit of an update, guys. From last week. Last week's episode was the big story was Pete Buttigieg, under his tenure at the Department of Transportation, they reportedly spent $80 billion on DEI-related grants. $80 billion. Now, and we're going to review the story that originally clued me into this from a few months back after we listened to this update. But Mayor Pete went on the Breakfast Club show within the last day or so to respond to this story. And I have the video clip of his initial response. We're going to watch it here in a second. Hopefully there won't be any copyright issues. I'm going to try to do my routine to make sure it's a transformative work, everybody. Transformative work. Corey Suzuki, good afternoon. But yeah, so let me get this set up here. Pardon me a second. I got to get all my layers and my windows set up here. Let's see. So I need this, and I need this, and then I need to do this. And how does that line up with that? And all right, that's how it's going to be. So yeah, this is Mayor Pete on the Breakfast Club. So just as a quick reminder, if you hadn't already watched last week's episode, there was a report out of the New York Post last week about new papers and filings showing that over the course of Mayor Pete's tenure as the head of the Department of Transportation under Joe Biden, in the course of the 4 years he was there, the Department of Transportation spent $80 billion on grants specifically earmarked for businesses and organizations based primarily, if not in their totality, on the race and or gender of those who are running said businesses. And that was something like $20 billion a year that they were spending on this stuff. And if I remember correctly, the number of businesses or organizations that received these funds numbered something like, was it 455 or 445, something like that. Anyway, I think my rough math, and do forgive me, I'm not a mathematician, was that on average, each one of these organizations received something like $200 million a pop over the course of those 4 years. Well, Mayor Pete was on the Breakfast Club. No, it's Breakfast Club, with Charlemagne the God. And he responded to this. So hopefully, I wasn't able to boost the sound on this. The video file format is just kind of locked as is. So I'll turn down the background music here so that doesn't get in the way. And we'll listen to this. I'll have to stop periodically because I don't know what the possible risks to copyright are here. But this is a transformative work, YouTube. See, I've got flames around it. It's not the same thing, and I'll be talking over the thing, just to make sure. By the way, before I forget, guys, and I'll remind at the end of the show, too, and I'm going to keep reminding this because this is apparently the new rules of the road. If you are watching this stream, I do appreciate you watching this stream. However, your viewership does not count simply by watching. No, now you have to interact in some way. There has to be audience engagement for a view to count. And the easiest way you can make sure that your view counts is by hitting that like button and or leaving a comment if you're watching this in the future as well. So if you haven't already, please do hit that like button. And remember that rule for all the other content or channels or live streams that you watch on YouTube going on in the future, because that is going to be the new rule now. The analytics and the metrics and all the algorithms and stuff are only going to apply to engaged viewership. So there you go. Anyway, let's listen to Mayor Pete.
About your previous duties, the airports. It seemed like the airports gotten a lot worse. Why do you think that is? Or are we just hearing about it more, and these are the problems that have been happening for the last 10, 20 years?
All right, yeah, so the other part of the story was that to the detriment of the air traffic controlling system in this country and updating the systems therein and everything, those were effectively sacrificed in favor of these $80 billion in grants. I was kind of irritated with the story the New York Post posted about that because they focused so much on the air traffic controlling aspect of it. I really wanted to know specifically who received these grants, but they didn't really focus on that so much, just as trying to compare and contrast what wasn't spent on air traffic control in this country versus how much was spent on the grants in the abstract.
Well, I read an article yesterday. They blamed it on you, Pete.
Of course they did.
They said that.
Of course.
Well, he was the head of the Department of Transportation for 4 years. So if there was anybody at where the buck stopped, aside from the president himself, who would it be?
I said under you, the Department of Transportation allocated over $80 billion for D.E.I. grants.
Okay.
Okay, so there's the accusation. Under the Department of Transportation allocated $80 billion for DEI grants. So that's the allegation.
Instead of putting money into
So
the actual airlines.
Yeah.
The airports.
Airports.
Obviously, I think that's bullshit.
Okay. Now, I'm going to take a cue from all of the true crime channels out there that I watch occasionally that do response analysis. Obviously, I think that's BS. I'll do the Family Channel thing here. So wait. Obviously, I think that's BS. You're the head of the Department of Transportation. Either it's true or it's not true. Or if there's some nuance in between, you would explain it. So if his first response is, obviously, I think that's BS, it doesn't answer the question in my mind. It feels awfully avoiding. But then I'm not an expert voice analysis or response therapist or something, so that's just my reflex.
Let's break it down.
Yeah, let's break it down. Let's break it down.
First of all, quote-unquote DEI grants.
Yes, quote-unquote DEI grants, i.e. earmarking money specifically for organizations or businesses to provide contract or just free money to on the basis of the race and or gender of the people involved.
I'm talking about transportation funding.
Well, transportation funding. Yes, if you give money to a company that does transportation work, but the first checkbox you have to hit is whether or not they're the right race or gender, are you refuting the actual allegation?
That they're now getting rid of. So Milwaukee, 6th Street. We funded a project, $34 million.
And the $34 million went to who and why? Who received the $34 million? I'm not going to dispute without further evidence, because I could believe that it's true. But I'm not going to dispute that work was actually done. I mean, I would hope that, the American taxpayer got something for their money at the end of it. But that's not the point at issue. The point at issue is who received it and why. And was the qualifying factor their race and or gender, or at least of the leadership of the organization or business that received the funds?
To help make a set of improvements to a very dangerous street where there have been a lot of crashes and that has divided the community. We provided funding. They're also going to improve the sewer while they're at it. I mean,
who? I know I'm not going to get the answer, but I just want to underscore this point. He's accused of setting aside $80 billion for DEI grants. His initial response is, obviously, I think that's BS. And then he starts talking about the end of the line of the process, and that is the actual construction work that was done, avoiding entirely the most important part of the timeline.
I mean, this is bread and butter stuff that's going to make the city better off. Trump administration killed that grant because the application talked about equity. It talked about one of the reasons for funding this project being that neighborhood had been underinvested in.
The application talked about equity. What do you mean, Mayor Pete? The application talked about equity? Uh-huh.
There was a project in Missoula, Montana,
No, talk about the application. Good God.
connecting East Missoula across Highway 200. By the way, the Republican senator from Montana supported that project and wrote me a letter saying we ought to fund it, and we did.
Yeah, okay. You see what he's doing here? He's avoiding the actual problem. The problem is not that work needed to be done and that work was done. We have a project. We need to have this bridge fixed. Okay, the bridge was fixed. Yay. Why was the money given to the contractor or the organization to do that work in the first place? The application talked about equity. You're burying the lead here.
This administration killed it just because it was part of a program that mentions equity.
What do you mean by mentions equity? We'll talk about it in a minute here, because I've got the story from 6 or 9 months ago or whatever. But
So when they talk about quote-unquote DEI grants, often they're talking about fixing roads and bridges that happen to go into a black neighborhood or a low-income area.
Okay, that's horseshit. Oh, pardon me. My family show just went down the tubes. No, that's utter and absolute nonsense. He's not even talking about the legal entanglements his Department of Transportation were experiencing near the end of the Biden administration. But let us remind ourselves of that, shall we? Let's see. Where did I put that now? I had that here just a second ago. Hold on. I'm a professional, guys. I swears. Live television, not going to stop me. And by the way, I have this big squared rectangle thing up on the screen because StreamYard has changed all the settings. I can't have the convenient little circle around anymore because it makes my avatar go itsy bitsy. So I have to have the giant block up. I don't like it. I don't know why they changed it, but this is where we're at apparently. So let's see. So we want why is that not? What? Okay, I'm confused apparently. StreamYard is messing me all up. Let's try this. All right. So this is the story that started it all for me when it came to the Department of Transportation and why I was so shocked at the $80 billion reveal because it used to be a much smaller number. Still a big number, but a smaller number. This story is from September 24th of 2024. So this is, right before September. Yeah, right before the election, still at the tail end of the Biden administration. And this is what everybody should know about when it comes to this particular story. But before then, Kiro Soldier, thank you so much. You're expecting Mayor Buttplug to explain it? No, I'm not expecting him to explain it. But I think his avoidance of answering the question and trying to obfuscate it answers the question in and of itself. Did you really set aside $80 billion? Well, I think that's BS. We got a lot of roads built. It's like, that's not how this works. But let's go on to the story real quick. I'm just going to review some of this. A federal judge in Kentucky has partially blocked a U.S. Transportation Department program that metes out contracts to minority-owned businesses and suggested he may eventually rule against it, marking the latest blow to a government affirmative action program. Remember, this is before the election, before Trump got into office. So opposition to these programs was already taking place before Trump got into the White House again. In a 28-page opinion issued Monday, U.S. District Judge Gregory F. Van Tatenhove wrote that, for now, the scope of the injunction is limited to the two plaintiffs, both transportation contractors, and at least two states, Kentucky and Indiana, where the contractors operate. But in reaching that decision, Van Tatenhove wrote that government failed to justify the program and that the plaintiffs would, quote, likely win on the merits of their constitutional claims, which would have implications nationwide. Quote, the court is keenly aware of the past discrimination that certain groups of people have faced in this country, and the court is sure that the federal government has nothing but good intentions in trying to remedy past wrongs, wrote Van Tatenhove, a George W. Bush appointee. Quote, but remedying those wrongs must still pass constitutional muster. The federal government cannot classify people in such a manner that violates the principles of equal protection, unquote. The Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program is at least the fourth such program in recent months to be enjoined on constitutional grounds. In March, a federal judge in Texas ordered the 55-year-old Minority Business Development Agency to open its doors to all, including white entrepreneurs. Last summer, a Tennessee judge ruled that a small business administration program for minority contractors could no longer presume certain ethnic groups were inherently, quote-unquote, disadvantaged, a key requirement to receive set-asides for government contracts. So this has been going on for quite a while now. And I'm curious how these cases are proceeding, if they're still proceeding at all. Scrolling down a bit, and this is why when the story came out last week, I was honestly shocked, because I already knew they'd spent a ton of money on this stuff. But I didn't know it was that much. So this is back in September of last year, remember? The Transportation Department said state transportation departments, airports, and transit agencies reported certifying about 49,000 disadvantaged business enterprises. Disadvantaged businesses have earned almost $34 billion through federal transportation contracts in the past 5 budget years, according to data provided by the Transportation Department. So I thought it was something like $34 billion, which is bad enough. But no, apparently, at least according to the New York Post, the tally now comes up to something like $80 billion. So, Mayor Pete, Sneaky Pete, he wasn't being completely truthful. He was being very, very avoidant of the situation and the truth of the matter. Walter Thomas Sketsy, Buttigieg is a politician. Why would anyone expect him to give anything else but a straight answer on anything? No, I get it. No, I understand. I just wanted to make sure I got his response on the proverbial record, given that I did the story last week, because he had an opportunity to either be honest about it or prevaricate, and he prevaricated, And I haven't seen what happens after that segment in the conversation. I have a feeling And I'd be more than happy to be corrected. I have a feeling that Charlemagne and his co-host did not press him on the matter, but boy howdy, they should have, because that was him trying to avoid it. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I think that's nonsense. By the way, look at all the bridges we built. Anyway, so that was the latest and greatest on Mayor Pete. And if I hear or see him respond any further to the allegations, that will show up on a future episode. But we have other stories in the wonderful world of DEI, including one, again, from the New York Post, and a video playing that I don't want to play. Left-wing hedge fund D.E. Shaw fears reprisals over DEI from Trump administration, says sources. Okay, well, what kind of DEI has D.E. Shaw been doing? Staffers at the notoriously secretive hedge fund D.E. Shaw, it's so secretive I've never heard of it before, but then I'm not much of a high finance guy, fear the wildly lucrative left-wing firm could face reprisals from the Trump administration over its woke DEI policies, the Post has learned. Ooh, what kind of policies? The New York-based powerhouse founded by billionaire David E. Shaw, well, that explains that, whose algorithm-driven trades made it the most profitable hedge fund in 2024, raking in $11.1 billion for investors, according to Institutional Investor magazine, has grown remarkably quiet of late when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion, sources said. Well, how loud and proud were they previously on this? They wouldn't have like a corporate video out there, would they? D.E. Shaw, diversity. It would be great if they had like a corporate promotional video or something like that. Let's see. The D.E. Shaw Group, discretionary strategies, meet the London employees. No, nothing about diversity. What about DEI? How about DEI? D.E. Shaw. Anything about DEI? No, systematic strategies. They talk a lot about systematic strategies. Okay, well, I might look that up later. Maybe there'll be something out there. Maybe a panel discussion or something. Those are always good. Let's see. Oh, pardon me a moment. This is my phone. Apologies for that, guys. That was Sister Scribe giving me an update. Yeah, my father is in there for at least the rest of the day, and we'll see how things are looking tomorrow. So apologies for the interruption, but needs as needs must. Moving on. D.E. Shaw did not respond to the Post's email request for comment for this article. I guess that's the guy. He looks like a very happy guy. For a billionaire, boy, he looks so joyful, doesn't he? Hold on a second. Got a question in the chat. Was that a metal ringtone? Well, not really. It's the opening riff to the song Flame by the band Sebado. Or The Sebado. So Sebadoh. Look up Sebado Flame, and it's the main riff from that song. Why do I have that as my ringtone? It's just unique enough from everybody else's that I know it's my phone, and I like the song. So there you go. That is the answer. The company, which gave a young Jeff Bezos his big break in finance before he set up Amazon in 1994, has promoted DEI policies for years. Well, great! Where can I find them? What were their DEI policies? Are you going to tell me? Hold on. Oh my gosh. Let's see. DEI. Okay. Oh, we have an interview with their head of DEI. Oh my gosh. We'll read that next. Oh boy, we'll read that next. Okay. Sorry guys, I'm getting so excited here. So excited, I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control and I think I like it. A June 2019 memo obtained by the Post that was written by Managing Director Eddie Fishman encouraged staffers to, quote, display their pronouns that align with their gender identity in their emails so managers could, quote, foster an inclusive culture. Of all the things, that's the mildest. I want to know about their employment policies, their promotional policies, recruitment and investment. But a review by the Post of archived pages from D.E.I. Shaw's website, shows that its DEI language has since been scrubbed, including references to how the firm, quote, actively promotes LGBTQ plus inclusion. Now its site merely says it's seeking, quote, talented people with diverse perspectives and backgrounds, unquote. It's everything old is new again. When I first started looking at diversity and inclusion, D&I, ampersand I, they used the word backgrounds a lot. A lot about backgrounds. That was usually the premier word they would use before they eventually maybe mentioned race or ethnicity or something. It's all coming back around again. One insider said top brass at the Wall Street firm, whose 74-year-old namesake helped bankroll the presidential campaigns of Kamala Harris. Money well spent. Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and Hillary Clinton, money well spent, made a strategic move to steer away from full-throated wokeness over fear of catching the attention of the White House. What do you have to be afraid of? You're doing the right thing. Everything you've done to this point is legal, right? Right? Quote, there was some concern that aggressive policies would make the firm a target for reprisals by the current administration, the source said. Quote, and we were about as aggressive as you could get, unquote. Really? I would love to see your quotas. Quote, they were going 100 miles an hour on DEI in public, only then to drop to zero and fall off a cliff, said another staffer. Quote, the communications have certainly been ratcheted back, claimed a third employee. Quote, it's not as in your face as it once was. Tell me more. DEI, I want to say DEI Shaw's. I'm just going to say it. DEI Shaw's retreat follows a Supreme Court ruling last month and a White House-led crackdown on corporate DEI policies, which critics say lower performance standards and foster so-called reverse discrimination. It's so-called because it's incorrect. It's just discrimination. There's no such thing as reverse discrimination. Top Department of Justice lawyer Harmeet K. Dillon, the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, issued the starkest of warnings to corporate America during a testimony to the Senate Judiciary Committee on July 23rd. Oh boy, starkest of warnings, July 23rd, all of 5 days ago. What did he say? Quote, the goal is clear. Either DEI will end on its own or we will kill it. The top Trump administration official says, really? Harmeet. What is your plan and who is your first big target? What is your plan? I have been waiting now 7 months for you guys to pick out a poster child for consequences for DEI policies. I have not seen it yet. You guys have given slaps on the wrist to a couple of universities. You've charged in the most recent case, you charged them a fine of $200 million so that they could get the federal funding back that you cut off. So basically, they paid us, the taxpayer, so we could just give the money back to them over time. That's great. No, we need serious consequences to a serious player. A message needs to be sent that cannot be ignored or denied by any other organization, business, or academia in this country. You guys have not done it yet. You've had plenty of time. I'm getting impatient. It needs to happen, and soon. And if you need evidence or you need a starting point for what companies to look at, just get in touch with me. I got plenty of examples. Accenture, HP, Amazon, Google, Meta. I've got the videos. I've got the testimonials of their own executives. Come talk to me. Seriously. Harmeet. Call me Harmeet. No, don't call me Harmeet. Call him Harmeet. Call me Scribe. Quote, the goal is clear. Either DEI will end on its own or we will kill it. You're going to have to kill it. It's not going to end on its own. You're going to have to kill it, and you're going to have to do it in a big way to somebody that's meaningful. Nevertheless, 5 sources with direct knowledge of the matter told the Post that executives at the company, founded by computer scientist Shaw in 1988 after he did stints at Stanford. Oh, good God, Stanford! I can't get away from you. Stints at Stanford, Columbia, and Morgan Stanley are still paying lip service to wokeness to the rank and file. Yeah, like I say, it's not going to go away. It'll change its spots, but it'll never go away unless you do something about it. Quote, they have said internally that our commitment and programs regarding DEI are not changing, said another senior D.E. Shaw source who spoke on condition of anonymity. Quote, they have themselves in a bit of a bind. They went hardcore DEI to appear progressive and cater to liberal recruits, a veteran at the firm added. Quote, internally, they are putting a brave face on it, but they are now very worried that the administration will start looking into them. Well, I hope they do. Because I got a feeling, and it's just a feeling, that maybe, just maybe, there might be some Title VII things to talk about. And I don't know, does D.E. Shaw accept federal financial assistance in any way, shape, or form? Because there might be some Title VI issues to talk about. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Fearing Trump's ire, the hedge fund appears to have axed its inclusive bridge internship. Oh, bridge! What? Oh, bridge. What was the bridge internship? The program was set up in 2016 for, quote, historically underrepresented, unquote, groups in finance. Uh-huh. And who counted as a historically underrepresented group? What marked individuals as historically underrepresented? Were they, by any chance, say, I don't know, race? Does D.E. Shaw, in any way, shape, or form, in its business practice, accept federal financial assistance? Does it have any contracts, any investments for federal agencies at all? In any way? Because if they do, they fall under Title VI, and it prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, and national origin in programs and activities receiving federal financial assistance. So if they had an internship program, and since money is fungible, well, the woke job placement scheme still featured prominently on D.E.I. Shaw's website last week, but they have now been deleted after the Post approached the firm for comment on their DEI policies on Friday. According to an archived version of D.E.I. Shaw's campus website, an online recruitment portal, the firm created 3 programs aimed at diverse recruitment. Its Discovery program was, quote, designed for students who self-identify as women, while Momentum was aimed at those who, quote, self-identify as part of the LGBTQIA plus community. No period at the end of the sentence. D.E.I. Shaw also had a program called Latitude, which was, quote, for students who self-identify as Native American or Alaska Native, Black or African American, Hispanic or Latino, or Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander, unquote. So anybody who isn't white. So if you're white, if you're straight, or if you're a man, you need not apply. And here's a screenshot of the logos they used. Momentum, a 3-day program open to second-year students currently enrolled in a full-time undergraduate program at a U.S. college or university who self-identify as part of the LGBTQIA plus community. And then Nexus. Oh, what's this? A 3-day program open to all second-year students currently enrolled in a full-time undergraduate program at a U.S. college. Oh, so Nexus is Nexus your escape hatch? Well, here's the thing. Even if you have one program that's completely open to everybody, but you have 3 others which are completely segregated, yeah, it doesn't help. You should have just had this one. Other Wall Street giants, including Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, Bank of America, and Jamie Dimon's J.P. Morgan Chase, have scaled back their public commitments to DEI. The Post reported exclusively how Goldman decided to give woke the boot, on its website at least, when its partners met with CEO David Solomon in Miami in February. The Post attempted to speak to additional employees at D.E.I. Shaw, but they declined, citing fears of retribution from D.E.I. Shaw's management, which has been known to weigh in on whether employees can attend social gatherings with people who have left the company. Oh no, I can't go back to the old parties? Quote, "It is definitely something that people are talking about at the firm," a separate person briefed on the matter told the Post. Quote, "The irony is that the whole firm is still very white and very male," said another source. Oh, you mean a company that extolled the virtues of changing the equation and making right what once went wrong? They haven't actually met their aesthetic goals? Oh my gosh, guys. Do you mean to tell me that DEI has failed at its one stated objective, even at D.E.I. Shaw? The hedge fund's leadership team counts 2 females, Alexis Halaby and managing director Ann Dinning, amongst its ranks. The firm last made major headlines in 2022 when it was forced to pay a $52 million defamation settlement to one of its former rising stars, Dan Michelot, after an arbitration panel found that it had falsely accused him of sexual misconduct. Oh, is that an aftermath of some kind of Me Too kind of thing? Michelot, who always denied any wrongdoing, left the company not long after the start of the Me Too. I was just guessing. I hadn't read this ahead of time. Michelot, who always denied any wrongdoing, left the company not long after the start of the Me Too movement, where hundreds of rich and powerful men were accused of sexual misdeeds. Aside from Amazon's Bezos and his ex-wife, Mackenzie Scott, D.E.I. Shaw's most famous alum is arguably Lawrence Summers. Oh, Larry Summers. He served as Treasury Secretary under Bill Clinton and as Director of Barack Obama's National Economic Council. Well, golly gee whiz. What a network. What a web. What a tangled web we weave when first we practice DEI. Plague Truckers Act, literally effing illegal. Yep. Yeah, pretty much. It's like, I have this program set aside specifically for people of a specific race in my company in the United States that deals with employment in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, it's questionable. Okie native self-identifying. Yeah, exactly. I what if I wonder what would have happened if I'd known about this ahead of time. If I wrote to D.E.I. Shaw 3 years ago and I said, hey, I self-identify as a female, gay, Eskimo. Would I then qualify for all of your internships? Would I get all the internships? Would all the internships belong to us? Base. Yep, it's me. Greetings from the past chat. I'm late, working on getting caught up. Well, hello. Whenever you catch up to this, then the timelines will have rectified themselves. So, greetings from the future, past, yep, it's me. Time travel stories are always very confusing. But let's take a look, shall we, at... Oh, am I allowed to read this? Hold on. Did I get a pop-up? No, okay. I think I can read this. If we get some kind of paywall thing popping up after I scroll down for 2 seconds, I guess we'll find out together. Let's talk about Maya Hazel on DEI leadership and the year ahead. This is from October 27th of 2023. Maya D. Hazel is the managing director of D.E. Shaw and Company LP and head of diversity, equity, and inclusion for the D.E.I. Shaw Group. Prior to joining the firm in 2021, Miss Hazel was global head of diversity and inclusion at White and Case LLP, where she advised clients, global partners, and senior leaders across practice areas, business units, functions, and industry groups on embedding DEI in their business strategies and talent goals. So basically, another job that produces nothing, is completely useless, and brings utterly no benefit to any organization where it's practiced. But let's see what she had to say about D.E. Shaw back in 2023. Again, this is an interview. So here's the interviewer talking. You serve as the head of diversity, equity, and inclusion at the D.E. Shaw Group, a global investment firm with more than $60 billion in assets under management. How does your role impact the business and the bottom line? Oh, that's a good question. Good question, interviewer. Yes, what is the ROI on DEI at D.E. Shaw? For years before bringing me on in 2021 in a newly created role to lead a dedicated DEI function, the D.E. Shaw Group put significant time and effort into delivering on its diversity-focused values. Okay. The creation of my role was seen as the next logical step in driving a targeted, strategic, and firm-wide approach to strengthening the firm's DEI efforts and business overall. These efforts span almost every area of the organization, from talent attraction, retention, and progression to inclusive management of diverse teams across our major operations in US, India, London, and Asia. We want to ensure we're sharing our story and unique value proposition to appeal to the many talented members of underrepresented groups in our industry. DEI is a key voice in our efforts to meet the challenges of rapidly evolving business and workplace imperatives, and diverse talent will be an important contributor to the firm's future success. Moving on. The interviewer, you are also a sought-after leadership coach. Can you talk about the intersection between your coaching and your DEI work? There is no intersection. They're on the same road. It's the same stuff. It's just talking a lot of nonsense and trying to push people to feeling like they've done something productive. I don't even need to read that one. What do you see changing in the DEI landscape in 2024? Okay, I'll give this a shot. This is her answer. American author and anthropologist Zora Neale Hurston wrote that, quote, "There are years that ask questions and years that answer," unquote. I think 2024 will be a year that provides a lot of answers about what a commitment to DEI really means and demands in the face of widespread backlash. I think it will also lead to an assessment of what is really working or not after decades of corporate efforts and how organizations must pivot in the face of both inquiries. Clarity about how companies define and understand equity will be key. An organization's superficial or performative stance will be far more obvious, and talent in the market will be able to make far more informed choices about which institutions are committed to inclusion and belonging. Can you share one secret to your success? Oh, please. I think that part of the demand for my services as a DEI professional and coach, right, like I said, there's no intersection, it's just one long grifting road, and coach is related to my innate empathy and optimism reflected in many aspects of how I show up. My success is likely tied to my pursuing a vocation that is very aligned with my sense of purpose. And then it gets into some fluff questions, and that's about it. So, how did DEI benefit D.E. Shaw? Don't know. What did they actually do? Well, we know a little bit from the New York Post. We have absolutely no idea from our DEI manager, save for the fact that they're going to do a whole lot of stuff on talent attraction, retention, and progression. So hiring and promotion practices using race, gender, and orientation as the filters. as we already know from the other story. And a whole lot of gobbledygook BS along the way. There you go. That's D.E. Shaw. Running scared because of the potential of something happening. Well, I got news for D.E. Shaw, and I'm going to be ecstatic to be proven wrong. Nothing's going to happen to you. Nothing. You process billions of dollars for people. I mean, the fact that you're a liberal-leaning organization might get you a little bit of attention somehow, obviously already from the New York Post. But legal action, I would be amazed. I'd be happy, but I'd be amazed. It's not going to happen. If patterns ring true going forward, as the Trump administration has been behaving so far, if anything does happen, it'll be a fine. It'll be a fine. And you guys have got $60 billion to play with. It'll be nothing. You know, you'll get your name in the paper for a few days. You'll get some online shade from MAGAs and conservatives and such, and then it'll go away. If anything meaningful happens, I would be amazed. Happy, but amazed. Was a mayor also was voted out. Oh, you're talking about Mayor Pete? Yeah, no, I know. I just, that's just his nickname. I just call him Mayor Pete, because that's about as far into politics as he'll probably ever get. He's going to run for president again in 2028, I believe. I think that's the plan. But he's going to do very badly if he does. Unless he ends up being the Democratic pick, which would be hilarious. Of course, it also then depends on... and then maybe he'll actually be asked some real questions and be forced to answer them without any creative editing on the part of CBS. Time will tell. Let's move on to another company that we all know so well. And a little bit of, I'm not quite sure if this is schadenfreude or, you know, your own policies coming back into bite you or something, but I guess let's go over this. This is from last week. I think it came out just after or just before I did last week's show. Netflix sued by ex-labor relations executive for discrimination and harassment. And what I really want to know from Variety, and this has been bugging me for a long time now, why do their eyes not have dots above them? Because if you didn't know any better, this would just be like Netflix. Like that is apparently is a lowercase I in the wonderful world of Variety. Now, I don't know if that's just the font, but lowercase i's on Variety's headlines all look like lowercase l's without any distinction as an I. So I don't know if somebody's key is stuck or that's just an anomaly of the font, but it always has bugged me, and it still does. Moving on. A former labor lawyer at Netflix sued the streamer on Monday, alleging she was fired after complaining about racial discrimination and sexual harassment at the company. Nguyen Phan, who previously worked for the Directors Guild of America and IATSE Local 600, was hired at Netflix in 2021 at a salary of $400,000 per year. She alleges she was wrongfully fired 3 years later after raising legitimate concerns. Okay. Quote, Miss Phan has been devastated both economically and emotionally by her wrongful discharge, the suit states. Quote, once a highly compensated professional with a sterling reputation, Miss Phan faces an uphill battle finding comparable employment. What did she do? The labor lawyer. Okay. The stress and humiliation of her termination, loss of income, and damaged reputation have been profound. Phan alleges that while at Netflix, she and other women of color were denied opportunities that were given to similarly situated white men. She complained to HR that her supervisor, Ted Sinclair, engaged in, quote, microaggressions and micromanagements, unquote, toward her. Oh boy, guys. Oh boy. Microaggressions. You love I love microaggressions. Groovy is here. That's not a microaggression. That's just That's just someone's name. Unless like someone interpreted like, hey, groovy. You know, if you did like a Bruce Campbell, groovy. And some Karen decided to take it the wrong way. That might be a microaggression. But groovy themselves, and I say themselves because I don't know, groovy could be a male, could be a female, could be an alien from Mars. But either way, hello, groovy. Yes, micromanagements and microaggressions. Fan also complained that she was excluded from the committee handling DGA negotiations, even though she had worked at the DGA and had a good relationship with its top executives. Well, maybe there was a conflict of interest. I mean, I don't know. It could be the case that she was excluded because of her relationships with the DGA, because maybe they saw there would be a conflict of interest. Maybe it wasn't they were being sexist. Maybe there was a business consideration, you know, or a plausible deniability consideration. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm just guessing that if you have a previous relationship with an organization that you're also at the same time negotiating with, depending on how that relationship goes, it might not be seen as kosher. Just throwing that out there. At her request, Fan was reassigned to a different supervisor, but she alleges that Sinclair continued to deny her choice assignments. Okay, she complained to HR that seeing white employees get those assignments, quote, does not feel inclusive, unquote, and later alleged that Sinclair failed to live up to Netflix's core value of inclusion. Yes, Netflix built its own coffin on this one, right? It said, oh no, we're an inclusive company, and by inclusion we mean we're going to give opportunities and jobs to people who aren't white men. And so if we do give a job opportunity to someone who is a white man, obviously we're violating our own promises to those of you who are not white men. I you know what? I'm going to take this as a little bit of Netflix schadenfreude. They have set themselves up for this. Fan complained to HR about her new supervisor, alleging that he sexually harassed a coworker by inviting her out to lunch, dinner, and drinks at Nobu. Okay, well, first and foremost, you know, taking a coworker or especially a subordinate out for lunch and drinks, probably not a good idea in any particular context, because it might, you know, tend to indicate that there's some favoritism going on at the very least, or again, conjure up rumors of something else taking place. And as the old saying goes, and I am lightening it for the sake of the family show, do not poop where you eat. So dating coworkers is often not a good idea, especially if they're a subordinate. However, unless you have evidence elsewise, or that person themselves is filing a complaint, you complaining that someone else was sexually harassed because their boss took them out to lunch sounds a bit weak. In June 2024, Fan got a 360 feedback report urging her to work on her communication. A few months after that, in a reshuffle of the department, Fan was terminated for alleged, quote, performance issues, the suit states. Quote, these claims lack merit and we intend to defend this matter vigorously, a Netflix spokesperson said. Okay, well, from the outside, and being a complete cynic on this, it sounds like she didn't get the jobs she wanted, and she hates white men. Also, her supervisor should not have taken her coworker out to lunch, therefore sexual harassment. Also, microaggressions. I think Miss Fan has an uphill battle ahead of her. But I also think that Netflix dug their own grave on this one, because they set expectations that someone coming into their company could legitimately expect from all their rhetoric. Because I've done a few videos on Netflix's diversity intentions in the past and plans and such, and it's been funny to see them walk back. Although I still don't think they've gotten rid of strong black lead in Netflix. I could be mistaken, but I don't believe so. Blue-eyed Scream. She got there and immediately expected choice projects. Yeah, I'm just owed these things. I showed up and I am a female of color. And you guys are all about inclusion. And inclusion means we don't give white people any opportunities that I'm owed just for showing up. So there you go. That's it. Yeah, that's it. She didn't get jobs or assignments that she thought she deserved. Her boss performed quote-unquote microaggressions or micromanagement. She was not allowed to participate in the DGA negotiations, even though she had a previous relationship with the DGA, which again might not at all be the reason why she wasn't allowed in. And also, her supervisor took a different coworker out to lunch one time, which constitutes sexual harassment in her eyes that she's going to use in her complaint on behalf of somebody else. So, there you go. Groovy, please don't they me arg. Dude, he, him, groovy. Okay, dude. I don't want to make assumptions here. You know? I mean, I don't know. Adam Nixon might be... You know, Glenn Close is a name that goes to... I mean, you know, there could be a girl out there named Adam, a boy named Sue. I don't know. I think this lady is just crying the blues because she didn't get a promotion to make more money, probably. Or she, like I said, she wasn't given the assignments she thought she was owed, or she's, you know, sexist or racist and she doesn't like white men doing things that she wants to do. So, no, assume, please. All right. I'll assume you're Bruce Campbell. There we go. I'll assume you're Bruce Campbell until I'm told otherwise. But anyway, what do I got left? What do I want to do? Well, I mean, it wouldn't be a DEI Deathwatch episode if we didn't check in with our favorite friend in the DEI cheerleading market, and that is Forbes magazine. Forbes magazine, everyone, where DEI can do no wrong. This little editorial is from July 27th by Joe Holt. Not, what was her name? Sarah Kratz or whatever? Sarah, it's usually, is it Sarah Kratz? Something like that. Kratz. She usually does the editorials on DEI. But here we're going to talk about tapping the ancient wisdom of hospitality to foster inclusivity. All right, everyone. It's ancient wisdom time. I feel like for ancient wisdom, I need a different soundtrack. Let's go with, how about, here we go. Let me turn it up a little bit. Ancient wisdom, everyone. In the past, some business leaders solved the problem of employees being constantly connected to their laptops and smartphones by tapping ancient Jewish wisdom and providing digital Sabbaths so employees could disconnect from their digital devices and find time to rest, reflect, and reconnect. Today's business leaders can solve the problem of companies abandoning or weakening their commitment to DEI programs, even though the issues those programs sought to address persist, by adapting the ancient virtue of hospitality to make others feel welcome, connected, safe, valued, respected, and heard. That was one sentence. That was all one sentence. Holy cats. Under pressure and threats from the Trump administration and certain conservative lawmakers and activists, some companies have abandoned or weakened their DEI commitments as too controversial and risky. But the importance of hospitality as a virtue is recognized in Judaism, Islam, Christianity, and Hinduism. Boy. Given that widespread acceptance, it seems safe to suggest that a company's public commitment to creating a culture of hospitality would be less risky than a public commitment to DEI efforts, though some companies may want to accept the risk of staying openly true to their convictions. The benefits of an inclusive workplace. Employees in an inclusive workplace feel that they belong, and that their perspectives matter, and that they are valued and respected, and that they are safe to be their authentic selves. that is good for the employees and also for the organization. A 2025 report by the World Economic Forum found that companies that companies committed to DEI more generally experienced higher levels of performance, innovation, and employee satisfaction. And a survey by the Boston Consulting Group and the Future Forum revealed that employees who feel they can be their authentic selves at work are more happy and motivated and more than 2 times less likely to quit. More than 2 times, everybody. Oh my God. The practice of hospitality could yield similar positive results for employees and organizations and help promote not only inclusivity, but also diversity and equity. A hospitable workforce culture is more likely to attract a wider range of top talent and also be a place where employees feel they are treated fairly. But creating a hospitable environment requires moving beyond the common understanding of that virtue. Well, by all means, tell me true, how do I create a hospitable environment or workplace culture? In Reaching Out, Catholic spiritual writer Henry Nguyen suggests that we think of hospitality not narrowly as welcoming strangers into our homes, but rather as the fundamental welcoming attitude we have towards other human beings. He points out that we often see strangers as a potential threat, but that we should see them as potential allies who have gifts they may share with us if we welcome them into a safe and open space in which they can be themselves and then show genuine interest in them. Okay. I need some different music now. This is Acoustic Cinematic from StreamYard. This is the free track they give you with your account. Acoustic Cinematic. Sounds like Diablo music. Doesn't it? I'm about to go on a quest. Stay a while and listen. The goal of creating that open space is to invite others to enter it and form a new relationship with us. But people will enter that space and share their gifts fully with us only if they feel safe. Nguyen observes that people will not reveal their most precious experiences and insights with those who evoke fear in them. He also emphasizes that those offering hospitality must see and affirm that the life experiences and ideas of others are worthy of their full attention and respect. Nguyen explains that hospitality requires both receptivity or openness and confrontation or presence. Was this thing written by ChatGPT? I am not reading all of this nonsense. I am not reading all of this magic crystal, new age, hippy-dippy nonsense. I'm just not. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Yeah, I think I'm going to close that there, guys. Ay, caramba. Yeah, so there's your DEI Deathwatch update, some news from Mayor Pete, some more information, well, actually new information to me about D.E. Shaw. I'm going to have to try to find, if I can find a panel discussion or a corporate promotional video or something on video, some testimonial from D.E. Shaw, if they haven't already scrubbed it all from the internet, which maybe they already have. But somebody from D.E. Shaw talking about what they do in their DEI efforts, or what they previously did, or probably still do, but just aren't talking about it. But before I close up shop, who else? Anybody else got anything else? Whoops, chat memory leak was over 5.5 gigabytes. For some reason, Scribe, your stream with all 36 people gets hit hard, had to restart browsing. You know, I've seen that before. It's some kind of YouTube nonsense that occasionally pops up. I have no control over it, obviously. So, yeah, guys, check your bandwidth usage on here. YouTube has an issue with their live streaming stuff, especially their chat boxes. I've seen that before, heard about it before. So, Blue-Eyed Scream, platitudes. Yeah, just a bunch of nonsense. Simon Willigan's finally got a car. Oh, yeah, by the way, guys, I forgot to mention, if you don't already know, yeah, there's a leaderboard for engagement. Now, you get a little crown, and if you're in the first, second, or third places for engagement on the stream. So, Kiro Soldier in the number 1 spot, Juliet in number 2, and Simon Willikins in number 3. So, congratulations to you guys for being the 3 kings of the stream. And I'm not talking George Clooney, Marky Mark, or Ice Cube. But if you get that one, then you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, let's see. What else do I have for you? Oh, yeah, that's also right. You guys know I have a Discord server? Well, if you didn't know I have a Discord server, now you know I have a Discord server. And what do you do knowing that I have a Discord server? Well, you could possibly, if you chose to, join said Discord server through the link that I just put in the chat. Click on that link. You'll find yourself on the landing channel called Say Hello. And in addition to saying hello, you just have to say the secret word. The secret word will tell me that you're not a bot. Actually watch the stream and have thus earned the right, the privilege, the entitlement to join the Discord server. And today's secret word is Pete. Just say hello, Pete, and I'll know that you watched the show. Beyond that, my schedule this week is kind of up in the air. If my father's released from the hospital tomorrow, it is entirely possible I may be gone for a day or two as we take him home and see to his settling in again. Or I might be left behind. It all depends on scheduling, timing, and such and so forth. So we'll see. But unless something comes up, and I'll let you guys know if it does, I should be present here Thursday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern for the next episode of TED Excellence, where I'll take a look at another off-brand TED Talk for entertainment and enlightenment. I call it a weekly masochistic endeavor of mental torture that I commit to myself. And you're more than happy to join in and observe, experience it, or laugh at me for having done it. Either way, I appreciate it. Also, let me give some promos here. Do you guys know about my friend, Irate Alex? Well, if you look up Irate Alex on the YouTube machine, be sure to subscribe to his channel and or his Twitch channel and everything else. And if you have the honor of being in the chat when Alex is live, do let him know that Scribe says substantive. And he will probably say a curse word as a result. Also, do you know about the silent sin, or Sinatra says? Well, look up The Silent Sin on YouTube and the attached channels thereof, and check out that along with the AAA stream, which Sinatra and Drunkle and the Gopher guy. I'm just kidding, Polydub. He's not a gopher. Anyway, check out Sinatra and also Sassy Shelley. He has an ongoing... You know, if that one channel that chronicles Chris Chan for the last 10 years or whatever, Sinatra is an absolute expert at foodie beauty. If you ever wanted to know anything about the epic saga that is Foodie Beauty, who is now apparently retreated to Syria and looking for donations for starving children or something, yeah, Sinatra's the one to look after. Anybody else I want to promote here? Let's see. Oh, yeah. How about Price of Reason? I don't have a cool little promo for Price of Reason. I should come up with one. But Price of Reason, check out his channel on the YouTubes. Also, Midnight's Edge and Midnight's Edge After Dark. If you're curious about movie news and entertainment news and everything else, be sure to check out Tom and Andre and the gang over there on Midnight's Edge as you're able. Anyway, everybody, that's the show for today. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Please leave a like on the way out if you haven't already. Otherwise, YouTube will not count your view as an actual view going forward, and it will help out, purportedly, in the algorithm for my channel. For those of you watching in the future, I do apologize for the commercials that may be interspersed in here, but That's the only way that I make a few pennies off of these things, by monetizing them after I've streamed them live. Because I don't like the idea of commercials popping in while I'm live streaming and interrupting what I'm doing for the people that are watching. That seems annoying. And unless or until YouTube gives direct controls that I'm aware of or can use to decide to put in an ad break or something. But even then, I probably won't do it. But anyway, there you go, guys. Everyone, thank you for joining me. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things. Even though everyone here is so well behaved, you have very, very little to do. Everybody who donated either to myself or, I even forgot to say this at the top of the chat box, guys, there's a link to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society donation page. My father is currently dealing with leukemia, and I have every belief that he is still around after a year after his diagnosis because of the science and the sorcery of treatment for leukemia. Certainly helped by the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. So donate if you are able, and even if you can't, if you can share that out on social media, that would be appreciated. Otherwise, everyone, enjoy the rest of your Monday. Hope you have a good week ahead of you. For those of you dealing with month-end stuff in the next couple of days, you have my sympathies, and I hope you're all safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.